So what's good, TMG fam? It's your boy Ellen. I'm back with another reaction. How y'all feel? Welcome back to the channel. Salute. So, listen, everyone wants to know why the Euphrates River is still a topic of discussion. Still a trending topic of discussion. It's simple. It's because of its association to religion. That association to Christians and what it means to them if it dries up is what keeps this a topic of discussion. So we're going to check it out again today. If you're new, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, join the fam, and let's learn something. Here we go. It's World War, what? Over water?
There is no water because it was cut off from Turkey. They put dams on the river and cut off supplies.
The Euphrates River is Western Asia's longest river. The river has 3 riparian countries, Iraq, Syria and Turkey, while its basin is shared by 5 countries with a total estimated population of 23 million people. But things aren't looking good for the river. Scientists are shocked by how quickly it's disappearing. More serious than the declining water flow are prophecies associated with the Euphrates drying up in the world's major religions. Many Christians are keeping an eye on the Euphrates River, which is virtually dry, and has a Bible verse related with it that mentions 4 fallen angels after it has dried up. So, is the historical Euphrates River drying up because of the imminent fulfillment of the passages in Revelation, or is there another factor we should be aware of? And what does this mean for humanity's fate? Stick around till the end to find out all about this latest revelation. Many civilizations have thrived.
I see what they did there with the wordplay, the latest revelation. I see what they did there, or what they tried to do.
To find out all about this latest revelation. Many civilizations have thrived along the banks of the Euphrates, particularly in ancient times. One of the most notable civilizations was the Mesopotamian Empire. The Fertile Crescent region of ancient Mesopotamia was located between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. That part of the world is now known as Iraq. The river is the longest in Western Asia, stretching 1,740 miles. It originates in eastern Turkey and flows to the Persian Gulf. Along the way, it passes through Turkey, Syria, and Iraq. The Euphrates River flows through a variety of vegetation zones. Despite the fact that millennia of human occupation have significantly altered the landscape in most areas of the Euphrates Basin, remnants of ancient flora survive. Although it may be difficult to believe given the current state of the river, this stretch of the river was once a model of water management in Babylon. While marching through Babylon, Cyrus the Great's army came to the canals built between the Tigris and Euphrates to circulate the latter's waters, which would otherwise drown the entire adjacent country when the snows melted on the Armenian mountains. Great canals the size of rivers ran parallel to the Tigris and Euphrates, and dozens more intersected the valley connecting the 2 streams. There wasn't a single part of the country that wasn't well watered. The canals were also used for crop transportation. The river was also used by religious warriors to spread Islam throughout the Middle East. The Prophet Muhammad's son-in-law, Ali ibn Abi Talib, relocated the capital of his caliphate from Medina to Kufa on the Euphrates, south of Babylon, in AD 656.
I don't know why I have this feeling like a strong sense of they're about to blame humans, about to blame mankind on it's drying up in this video. I don't know. And I could be completely wrong, but it just feels like that's where he's kind of headed. I hope not.
Medina to Kufa on the Euphrates, south of Babylon, in AD 656. Kufa's fertile wheat, date palm, rice and other crop fields stretched for miles on both banks. For millennia, right up to the present day, the Euphrates has been at the heart of many Iraqi cities' identities. Take, for example, Fallujah, whose strategic location on the river drew a slew of invaders ranging from the Persians to the Romans, who attacked Fallujah in the 3rd century AD. On their way to the Mediterranean, caravans from Arabia stopped in Fallujah to water their camels in the river. However, experts' predictions for the river are bleak. According to research by the country's water ministry, the Euphrates and Tigris rivers in Iraq will run dry within 2 decades if no action is taken. Unfortunately, these 2 rivers constitute up to 98% of Iraq's surface water supply. Indeed, Iraq may become a land without rivers as early as 2040. But what exactly is causing the Euphrates River to dry up? It is a complicated situation, but climate change, conflict, and indiscriminate dam construction in neighboring nations have...
Yep, I knew it. Us and building these dams and stuff like that. Now, climate, we all should have had that back in the back of our mind. You know what I mean? When you sit there and say things or been around older people and they say, man, this is the hottest summer ever. You know, you've been around your grandparents and they say, boy, you could tell the weather is changing. We're seeing different types of heat. You know what I mean? In the summertime, bro. It's going to be an indicator of things drying up. And unfortunately, the Euphrates is one. But this dam that they building don't sound like it's helping neither.
Climate change, conflict, and indiscriminate dam construction in neighboring nations have all led to a water crisis that threatens the livelihoods of millions of people in the region.
Wow.
Berkeley Earth, a non-profit organization situated in California that focuses on climate research, claims Iraq's annual temperatures are rising at roughly twice the global average. The world has warmed by an average of 1.3 degrees Celsius since the late 1800s, while Iraq has warmed by a stunning 2.5 degrees Celsius. The human-made element of the Euphrates issues, on the other hand, begin more than 1,000 kilometers upstream near the river's catchment area in eastern Turkey, below the Taurus Mountains. For years, the Turkish government has been building dams to generate power and develop agricultural land. The Kaban Dam on the upper Euphrates was built in 1974, while the Ataturk Dam was finished in 1990. A $32 billion initiative to build 22 dams and 19 hydroelectric plants on the Tigris and Euphrates rivers will eventually supply roughly 1/4 of Turkey's electricity. Meanwhile, Syria built the Tabqa Dam upstream from Raqqa in the 1970s and built a few other dams on the Euphrates and its tributaries before the civil war halted construction. Water flow into Iraq has been cut by about 2/3 since the Turkish and Syrian dams were erected in the 1970s. Iraqis clashed with both neighbors for decades over its fair portion of the water. When Turkey and Syria channeled the Euphrates River into a series of reservoirs, practically drying out the rivers downstream in Iraq, the conflict came dangerously close to bursting into violence. In response, the Iraqi government constructed a canal network connecting the Euphrates River to Lake Al-Thartha, northwest of Baghdad.
Now, who gave you the right to feel like you own the water? Like, I'm going to take this over. We're going to do this and we don't care how they feel about it. We don't care if they're using it to survive. We don't care whatever. We feel like we need it more than they do. Where do you get that from? How do you come to that conclusion that you just rightfully own this water? Like, and it's so rudimentary. It's just, oh my God. And this is the type of stuff that goes on. And those people are having to suffer for that. Will end up having to migrate to somewhere else, leave their homes. It's a different feeling to be forced away from your home unwillingly when you don't want to leave there. You know what I'm saying? My heart goes out to them and sympathize and empathize with them for that, bro. Because that's your home. That's the place you've always known. And because somebody else felt like they needed it and was willing to poke their chest out and pretty much go to war with you over it. That's the type of stuff that, and you wonder why your grandparents and stuff be like, this world's going to hell in a handbasket. It is.
Connecting the Euphrates River to Lake Al-Thartha, northwest of Baghdad. The Euphrates River, according to the Iraqi ministry, will only be filled to 1/3 of its original capacity by 2035. When combined with the loss of the Tigris water, Iraq will be short of 80% of the 53 million cubic litres it consumes each year. In addition, a recent NASA and German government satellite study showed that the Tigris-Euphrates loses groundwater quicker than any other place on the Earth, with the exception of India. Iraq has been designated as one of the countries that will face extreme severe water stress by 2040 by the World Resources Institute, a non-profit environmental organization based in the United States. The consequences of the Euphrates drying up are already being felt by the people of Iraq. According to relief agencies, the present water crisis in Iraq is already endangering the lives of at least 10 million people and limiting access to food and energy. Wheat production in northern Iraq might plummet by up to 70%. To improve the situation, the irrigation system would need to be completely overhauled, which might cost between $60 and $80 billion, money that the suffering nation simply does not have, implying that starvation is imminent. Aside from that, as dams...
That's another thing, look there. Think about the children.
...does not have,
Think about the children. You gotta be a sick individual to do this to some children. Anybody, doing it to anybody is wrong, but you don't even factor in the kids. Heartless people in the world, straight up heartless.
and $80 billion, money that the suffering nation simply does not have, implying that starvation is imminent. Aside from that, as dams fail, electrical supply diminishes, impacting the operation of hospitals and other important infrastructure. People have assumed that this occurrence is related to the biblical book of Revelation because there are only a few logical explanations for why the river is drying up. Remarkably fewer people are amazed by the development since they believe it was pretty much inevitable because it is mentioned in the Bible. The fact that the Bible's prophecy of the end of the world is becoming a reality right before their eyes is what scares people the most. Many people believe that the key passages in the apocalyptic book of Revelation show Iraq's importance in end-of-the-world scenarios. The Euphrates River is mentioned in chapter 16 of the book of Revelation. The sixth angel poured out his bowl on the great river, the Euphrates, and its water was dried up, so that the way would be prepared for the kings from the east, the chapter says. The sixth angel, according to this scripture, poured his bowl into the Euphrates River. The contents of the bowl caused the river to dry up. Previous bowl decisions have polluted or destroyed the majority of the world's water. This judgment is not intended to tarnish or eliminate the use of this water. Rather, it appears to be about destroying a defensive barrier in order to allow invading kings from the east to pass through. The Bible refers to the Euphrates as the Great River 5 times. It indicated the eastern boundary of Israel's heritage. The river provided some safety for Israel because it was difficult to cross, and a wilderness to the west separated Israel from the promised land of Canaan. It runs approximately 2,000 miles towards Palestine before turning southeast toward the Persian Gulf. The Euphrates separated east from west when Revelation was written in the 1st century, and the kingdoms of China and India lay beyond it to the east. Cyrus of Persia's armies captured Babylon centuries ago by diverting the Euphrates River, which ran through the city. They marched into Babylon and took the city on the dry riverbed. The eastern invader will cross the Euphrates, march into Babylon, and enter Palestine during the Great Tribulation. Release the 4 angels who are bound at the great river Euphrates, says the 6th angel with the trumpet in Revelation 9:14. What does this mean exactly? This is the voice that John hears issuing from the 4 horns of the golden altar, as described in Exodus 27:2. This voice directs the 6th angel who wields the trumpet to liberate the 4 angels imprisoned at the Euphrates River, which served as a historic border between Assyria and Israel. Revelation reminds us that God is ultimately in control of these events, authorizing or announcing each one. Evil is never allowed to run entirely rampant in the end times. Because they are bound, we know they are demonic beings. Demons are fallen angels who are frequently enslaved by chains of gloomy darkness. The Euphrates Valley, where these 4 angels are imprisoned, has a shady history with a human evil. The first murder was most likely perpetrated in the Euphrates Valley near the Garden of Eden. Recently, rumors of mysterious sounds heard from the depths of the drying river have circulated, possibly to legitimize this passage. This strengthens people's ideas that...
Whoa. They discovering sounds and... Hold on, say that again. What?
Recently, rumors of mysterious sounds heard from the depths of the drying river have circulated, possibly to legitimize this passage. This strengthens people's ideas that current events foreshadow Christ's second coming to conquer his enemies and build his heavenly kingdom. People have begun to express their concerns, noting that they never expected to see revelations make any sense at all. While biblical prophecy is the most compelling idea concerning the river, other hypotheses link current occurrences along the Euphrates to political goals and climate change. The drying up of the Euphrates River, on the other hand, has had an unforeseen consequence: archaeological findings. Many of these previously submerged locations are reappearing when riverbeds dry up. The Euphrates riverbed has revealed 6 separate historical eras, including Sumerian, Akkadian, Assyrian, Greek, Byzantine, and Islamic, according to scientists. Syria built the Euphrates Dam in 1968 without diverting the Euphrates River and creating lakes in the desert. As a result, the dam's lake, which was 100 kilometers long and 8 kilometers wide, flooded the river's most important ancient sites, saving only a few monuments and relics. There are countless cemeteries in this area, as well as hundreds of Syriac Christian monasteries. When the sun shines and the lake water is clear, the submerged cemeteries can be clearly seen. A few graves have been discovered on the lake's right bank in Raqqa's western district, but the left side has not been studied as thoroughly because it is rockier, making excavating work difficult. The ancient city of Taubes was
that makes me think that when they say political gain as well, it's because of some interest that may be there or present once the water dries up fully, that they can monetize on. See, everything comes back to that dollar a lot of times in my mind. You know what I mean? Y'all don't have to believe that. Just in my mind, a lot of things double back to that almighty dollar. So you can add that into the reasonings of why no one has stepped in and helped them with the $60 billion, knowing clearly that they don't have it. So yeah, it must be of some interest to let that thing dry up.
Is rockier, making excavating work difficult. The ancient city of Taubes was uncovered by the receding waters of the Euphrates River in Anna, Iraq. In fact, Iraqi archaeologist Mohammed Jassem claimed the appearance of at least 80 historical monuments as a result of the Haditha Dam's decreased water level. The Antiquities Department in Duhok, Iraq's Kurdistan province, has revealed the discovery of a 3,400-year-old Mitanni Empire city that surfaced when the floods in the Tigris River basin retreated. Sakhiko, a historical city, was referenced in Babylonian writings. It has a palace in various other buildings, as well as a massive fence and unearthed cuneiform texts. The researchers were amazed by how well several of the sun-dried mud walls that had been underwater for more than 40 years had been preserved. This is most likely due to the earthquake that devastated the city. The higher portions of the walls were transformed into debris, burying and protecting the city for millennia. 5 pottery containers containing more than 100 cuneiform tablets, some of which were still in their clay envelopes, were also remarkably well preserved. The underwater survival of unfired clay tablets is considered a miracle by Peter Falsner, an archaeology professor at the University of Tübingen. The team thinks that the tablets, some of which could be letters, will provide more information about the city and its ancient people. Let us know what you think about the Euphrates drying up in the comments section below.
All I want to say is they don't really care about us, or however the song goes, the hook of the song goes. It's what I feel like, man, when you watch a kid and know the life that that kid is facing and nobody wants to step in and help. It's drying up, people. The resources are drying up as well. It's crazy to think of, man. And at the same time, people are like, but what do I do? Am I going against my religion? Because this is prophesied in Revelations. So am I going, you know what I mean? So some people are in like a catch-22. Some people have a political game. Like, it's crazy just to think about the different things, man. It's like I said, at the end of the day, them kids didn't ask to be here, and they shouldn't have to go through that. Sad. Y'all get at me in the comment section, man. Let me know what you thought of this video. And stick around and stay tuned, man. Until next one, I'm gone. Peace.